Okay, it's been an absolutely crazy day for the crypto market. Not only are almost every single one of our coins up today. I mean, I've been looking at the crypto prices and they are doing very freaking good right now. There have also been some announcements that I don't even know how to put it. It's just actually quite insane. Honest truth, I really expected today to be all about ChatGPT 5. I expected it to be the big thing that everybody was going to talk about and for AI coins to go absolutely crazy. But it seemed that all of a sudden Bitcoin went back to 117,000. And I'd say one of the major reasons that this was able to happen was because of Trump. Now, taking a bit of a look, President Trump to sign executive order targeting banks for debanking crypto companies and conservative groups. Banks could be forced to restore access to blocked accounts, and this is freaking huge, but this is only a very small part of that big story. To get into slightly more detail, one of the other announcements that came out earlier today was that President Trump is to make some major announcements on the economy later. And why is that a big deal? Well, if you've been seeing his state the last couple of days, he's basically been saying that the US is going to do really amazing based on tariffs, and that at the end of the year, somewhere along that line, end of the year, perhaps beginning of next year, the US is going to see the biggest boom which they've ever seen. I believe he set the end of the year for that. However, just now, I believe he made one of the biggest crypto announcements we could have had the luck in seeing. Breaking news. The White House says that President Trump is about to make a major announcement in the economy. Cool. Breaking. President Trump officially signs an executive order allowing Bitcoin and crypto in 401ks. And in other words, they officially signed the opening order of the $12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to crypto investments. So what this basically means is that all these different companies who just stack your money for retirement, right? They have a specific set of different investments they could make. They're not allowed to put your money into anything because they got to keep it quote unquote safe, right? So what Trump has just now done is he's allowed those companies who want to save up for your retirement to want to invest it, well, obviously as a retirement fund, to allow them and their $12.5 trillion to get some of that crypto pie. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is probably the biggest announcement that could have come out from Trump. I seriously can almost not think of anything else that would have been bigger than something along these lines, except for perhaps, direct to reserves of sorts. But honestly, the past day or so, I've just been looking at all the announcements coming out, and it's all been really exciting. China to allow the launch of its first crypto stablecoin. That was a pretty big deal, but there was more. BRICS, all right? Brazil, Russia, India, we got China and South Africa to discuss joint response to President Trump's tariffs. Then we got Dubai officially approving first crypto options license. And one announcement that's not necessarily as bullish, but was definitely interesting. President Trump announces a 100% tariff on all semiconductors entering the US, exempting companies that build in America. But really, when you start breaking it down, a ton of news came out, man. US to impose tariffs on 1 kilo gold bars. President Trump officially signs an executive order to stop banking discrimination against crypto, religion, and politics. Then again, we have another massive announcement probably somewhere out later today. I don't think that I don't think neither of these were the big announcement, right? The 1 kilogram bar tariff, I don't think that was it. Nor do I think this one is it, that he officially signed an order to stop banking discrimination. Because if it's a major announcement in the economy, I don't think that could be it. I mean, this whole executive order for the retirement market, I could have gotten. But then again, I still think that most people do not look at an announcement like this and say, oh, this is a big deal. And it came afterwards. So I do really still wonder what exactly he is going to say. I mean, everything thus far today has been really, really good. And another funny note there is that we've talked previously about how good the economy is looking, which to some extent is scary. But here's an interesting video I want you guys to quickly watch.
Here's a look at earnings expectations. What a chart this is. It's been a very strong quarter despite tariff uncertainty, with 82% of S&P 500 companies beating estimates so far. That's the highest rate since 2021.
Damn, right? That is pretty freaking crazy. And that's all. At the same time, all these tariffs are record-breaking. And that proves two things. One, They talked before about why they're not lowering interest rates, because obviously the more you do that, the more you're incentivizing this new spending, this new industry, this new investment, all that, right? By that logic, also the more they expect to beat their earnings yet again. So to counter that, they wanted to keep the interest rates high. It's a little bit of a slippery slope. I've talked about that before. But when you start looking at it again, if all of them are beating their quarterly earnings estimates, they're all doing better than expected, yeah, then there doesn't really need to be any more incentive, I'd say, right, to lower interest rates in that sense. Because inflation already on its own, if everything is beating expectation, everything is already going out of control, wouldn't that almost automatically also bring a higher inflation back just based on the fact that everything is outperforming? Even though we didn't necessarily expect that with these new tariffs, it is very interesting. I mean, we are in a new era where President Trump just 17 hours ago, right at the start of, the start of the day actually, said, President Trump says reciprocal tariffs take effect at midnight and billions of dollars will start flowing into the U.S. Federal Housing Director says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is hurting the housing market. I mean, that is true. Partially, the higher you keep interest rate, the more the housing market is in a little bit of a iffy situation. Obviously, it's one of the main sectors that benefits from lower interest rates because the cost of borrowing capital becomes significantly lower if interest rates are lowered. And that means people are easier to get a house, or at least are more likely because less interest. It's just logic. And if you're wondering, by the way, I saw some comments of people talking about how the trades have not been doing good. Well, yesterday we talked about this inverse head and shoulder, how this could potentially be a move to take on the short term. And, well, I mean, our expected path is thus far working out quite nicely. All right, we saw our breakout, and thus far it's moving along beautifully. We've actually seen ourselves break above 305, and right now are pushing through, also partially as expected. What we basically said is the moment that this line is crossed, which we are doing right now, we do expect the journey to be beautiful again. Why? Because you're breaking this downwards trend. Now, really, if we want to be fully in the clear, we want to get back above $3.30, which of course is still like 50, let's call it a 5% move or so from here. So we still want to, of course, get above that before we're fully in our nibbits again. However, to counter that, Ethereum is back at the high. It's right now at 3,865, so almost back at the local high again. Obviously, our ETH position isn't as great, and right now we're also for ETH getting back into the territory where it's actually worth selling rather than buying. And you can see where we were purchasing. One of the purchases was slightly upwards, but still any single one of our purchases has been at a pretty good price, which is why our average price is still so ridiculously low, even though we bought ourselves about $300,000 worth of ETH here over the last couple of weeks. And also, a lot of people had something to say about the bots and the fact that, oh, but. I saw a lot of buts. It's all fine, though. Again, I've already told you before, even if you don't like my strategies, you think they're all stupid, just keep watching back on the channel. Just keep stopping by every now and then, every few days, every few weeks. The same thing goes for if you thought me not closing my XRP trade at $400,000 profit was dumb. I get it. I've seen it all. I look back at videos where I was $80,000 in the minus. It's all okay. Because back then I said it and now I'll say it again. You just wait. I have calculated this for way too long. I know where a lot of these things are headed. And the same thing for this XRP. Let me quickly go ahead and find it here. This XRP 10K to a million challenge. A lot of people might be laughing at it now, saying, oh, but it's down so much, down so much. We started this with 10K just 3 months ago. Right now it's at 42,000. Yes, we're down a little bit, but again, it's about the longer term. Where will we eventually be? And theoretically speaking, if I was allowed to actually reinvest more and we up this actual investment, the moment it was down more than 50%, right now we'd actually be at a profit and do pretty, maybe not at a profit exactly, by the way. I think for the A1, yes. But we've been doing pretty freaking good right now. But the thing is, we cannot touch it. We can only use money made from the bot. And it's doing really, really well. By the way, nowhere am I making any guarantees, and this is not financial advice. I'm just showing you guys my journey and how things have been coming along. And they've been coming along great. On the short term, things may look sad. I know. I get it completely. But I've already climbed that freaking ladder a long time ago. For me, all I got to do is just update myself every now and then, add when some of these bots are down tremendously, and sometimes open more or newer ones or newer strategies. And I'm going to probably do some more challenges in the near future here. Maybe also another ETH 10K to a million challenge. Why? Because I just feel as if I want to open more, and I kind of don't want to ruin what they look like. For example here, I only put 0.01 BTC in, right? So it's not really doing anything for me in terms of dollars, as the bot is only like $1,200. And the same thing goes for some of these here. Like the Doge one is also only $800. The reason I don't want to actually add too much more though is because then it takes away from how much the great profits have been over a short amount of time. Because a big part of what I've got here is like a nice showcase of how effective my strategies have been. And by the way, You can see all the strategies, every single bot I have down below with the link. You can see the worst performing ones and the best performing ones. I mean, I scrolled through it just now, but still you can check it out all for yourself by clicking the link down below. There's a little button that says copy my bots. If you wanted to, you can copy my exact strategy, every single part of it. You can copy right there with that link right there. Or you could just press the links slightly above that to sign up and use them if you perhaps want to. Or this link right here is what I use for my day-to-day trading. This one right there. It's just a nice platform I use. No KYC, which is pretty nice. And I want to remind y'all again, zoom out. All right, keep zooming out. Keep zooming out. Keep remembering for yourself that thus far it served really, really well to be a perma-bull. And I want to showcase this perhaps every single day. How is 𝗬𝗓𝘀𝗧, one of the most known or best known traders on Bybit, able to make $100 million in a year? Two things. One, have a lot of money. Let's put that straight up forward. The more money you got, the more money you can make. It's just always that case. But second part is just being really freaking convinced that the market's going up. Because again, even though he had some shorts in there as well, there's a few things which I can say about those. And partially I'm thinking if you look at some of the newer trades he's making, sometimes he might just want to short the moment his longs get wrecked to kind of just double down on that. But for the most part, if you look at the P&L, most of it, right, 80%, 85, matter of fact, is coming from longing. Why? Because all you got to do, theoretically speaking, thus far in the crypto market, have money, say the crypto market will move up with some leverage, just really go for it, and thus far you would have won. Now, is that always going to be the case? No, but throughout time, thus far it has, and I've explained 1,000 times that with his strategy, the reason he loses, by the way, why does he not have a 100% win rate when you could have? The main reason is because he sometimes lets his trades get wrecked, even $40 million before he got wrecked, and he'll enter again with size at another opportunity, perhaps slightly lower. And he also, actually, funnily enough, enters as the market moves up. So some people say you can only enter in these type of dips, right, when the market moves down. Not really true. You can actually also add to your longs, and most of the bigger traders do that when the market moves up, because at that point you get more confirmation that this is going to turn around. Again, it's actually harder to buy when there's a full-on downtrend and you're trying to buy some sort of dip or you're trying to some sort of movement down, because if the market's moving down, you kind of expect it to move further down, whereas if the market is moving up, like kind of what we're seeing right now, we've passed our previous little top right here, right? We're passing that right now. A lot of people find more strength in trying to buy these type of moves. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Wait a minute, XP is back at 317. When I started the video, it was 310. So I was already confused at the start saying my percentages right, but that's because the price has been going so hard all of a sudden. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. That's also probably why I was like, oh, this thing is not down as much anymore. Right, let's see back to the XRP bot. Where's the bigger one at? Let's quickly go ahead and find it. The 50K bot is back in $62,000 worth of profit. I was like, huh? But that's because XRP is doing really, really well. Yeah, you can see it on the chart over on the right. You can see, right, just a little bit ago, it was only $43,000 in profit. Now in a few days, we're right back to 63,000 and some more, actually, for being at a lower price. Why? Well, first, wow, XRP is really doing well. Mostly because the grids, it keeps cashing out, it keeps buying as the market moves down. As you can see right here, it keeps buying as the market moves down, and it keeps selling as the price goes up. I love it. I love every single day of this crypto stuff because, man, these announcements are good. Oh, I'm going to watch the price for a little bit. See you guys again in another crypto video, hopefully somewhere later today. If you want to trade, you know where to find it. That's about it.